The silver starship glided silently through the blackness of space, its hull reflecting the faint light of distant stars. Inside, Princess Arlena of the planet Zorath gazed through the observation window, her eyes wide with curiosity. Unlike the human explorers she had studied in holographic simulations, she had never seen the planet in person. The tiny blue and green sphere spun slowly below, its oceans shimmering and clouds swirling gracefully. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," a soft mechanical voice instructed. Arlena nodded, her slender hands gripping the railing in front of the window. She had been trained in diplomacy and science for many cycles, but nothing could have prepared her for the excitement of visiting a new world. Her advisors hovered near the control panel, their translucent forms glowing faintly. Zorathians did not require oxygen, but they had learned to adapt their bodies for short excursions to human-friendly environments. Their biology was entirely different from humans: long limbs, multifaceted eyes, and a subtle shimmer to their skin that reflected light in unusual ways. "Princess," said Advisor Vera, her voice tinged with excitement, "Earth is unlike anything in the archives. Even the cities alone. I believe the humans will astonish you." Arlena smiled, but inside she felt a flutter of nervousness. Meeting humans was one thing. Observing them closely was another. The Zorathians had always been fascinated by Earth's dominant species. Humans were fragile, emotional, and energetic. They did not possess the advanced biosynchronization or energy manipulation that Zorathians prided themselves on. Yet their ingenuity and adaptability were unmatched. The starship began to descend into Earth's atmosphere. Flames licked the edges of the craft as friction heated the protective shield. Arlena pressed her face closer to the glass. Below, a vast forest stretched as far as the eye could see, rivers cutting through the green like silver threads. The cities were clustered along coastlines, skyscrapers gleaming in the sunlight. As the ship touched down in a specially designated area for alien visitors, humans in clean uniforms approached carefully. They wore curious expressions, pointing communicators at the strange craft. From their body language, it was clear they had been expecting the arrival. Arlena took a deep breath, or at least the closest Zorathian equivalent. On her planet, breathing was optional, but she had trained herself to simulate the act for diplomatic reasons. She stepped onto the soft green grass, feeling the slight tickle of the planet's atmosphere on her skin. Everything smelled different, fresh, earthy, alive. A human stepped forward, a tall man with short brown hair and a warm smile. He bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Arlena. I am Commander Nathan Hale. We are honored by your visit." Arlena inclined her head politely. "Your world is extraordinary," she said, her voice melodic and calm. "I have studied it for many cycles, but seeing it directly is overwhelming." Commander Hale chuckled softly. "I'm glad you are impressed. We hope your stay is informative and comfortable. Your schedule is flexible, but we would like to begin with a cultural exchange program. Humans and Zorathians can learn much from each other." Arlena nodded, intrigued. She had expected tours, displays of human technology, and perhaps discussions about energy manipulation and space travel. What she did not expect was how curious humans were about her species. They asked questions constantly, about her lifespan, her planet's gravity, and how her people communicated. After introductions, she was escorted to a modern research facility near the coast. It was designed to accommodate both human and alien visitors, blending technology seamlessly with nature. The building had high ceilings, glass walls, and open spaces where sunlight poured in. Humans were moving about efficiently, carrying datapads and equipment. "Princess," said a human scientist named Dr. Lila Moreno, "we would like to show you something remarkable today. How humans bring new life into the world." Arlena tilted her head slightly. She had read reports about human reproduction in academic archives. They were simple compared to the complex biosynchronization of Zorathians. She was curious but also cautious. She had never studied living humans in this context. Dr. Moreno led her to a large observation room. Through clear panels, Arlena could see a series of human families interacting in a controlled environment. Babies crawled and toddled, their laughter filling the air. Parents guided them, teaching them to walk, talk, and explore. "Humans reproduce in a very personal way," Dr. Moreno explained. "But the most fascinating part is how they raise their young. Their offspring develop over many years, learning from their families and society. It's remarkable, Arlena observed quietly, her large eyes scanning every detail. Humans seemed small and vulnerable, yet they were incredibly resilient. Babies who fell learned to stand again. Toddlers who could not speak still tried to communicate. The energy humans put into nurturing their young was unlike anything on Zorath. It is surprising, Arlena admitted. On Zorath, new life is created through energy matrices. Young emerge fully formed, with knowledge downloaded into their systems. They do not experience growth in the same way. Dr. Moreno smiled. Yes, humans grow slowly, but each stage teaches them adaptability. The experiences shape who they become. Arlena felt a strange mix of fascination and admiration. Humans were fragile, yes, but their strength came from learning, from persistence, from care for one another. It was a form of power she had never considered. A small child toddled toward the observation window. His eyes were wide, his hair messy, and his cheeks flushed with excitement. He pointed at Arlena and giggled. Arlena smiled back, feeling an unexpected warmth. The child's curiosity mirrored her own about humans. As the day went on, Arlena followed Dr. Moreno through various sections of the facility. She watched families eat together, play together, and guide their children. Every interaction was a lesson in patience and creativity. Humans made mistakes constantly, but they learned and adapted quickly. By mid-afternoon, Arlena had seen enough to form a preliminary understanding. She sat in a quiet corner of the observation deck, contemplating the differences between her species and these humans. Her people valued perfection and efficiency. Humans valued connection and growth. They were chaotic in many ways, yet their chaos seemed to generate strength. Princess Arlena, Dr. Moreno asked gently, "Are you comfortable?" "I am," Arlena replied, her voice soft. "More than comfortable. I am intrigued. The way humans develop their young, it is nothing I expected. There is a beauty in it. Imperfect yet alive, fragile yet strong." Dr. Moreno nodded. "You will see more in time. Humans are full of surprises. Observing them directly is very different from reading about them." Arlena looked down at her hands. They shimmered faintly in the sunlight, a natural trait of her species. Yet for the first time she felt a desire to experience something human firsthand. Not through data, not through observation, but by living it. She did not yet know how, but the thought excited her. The first day on Earth ended with a quiet ceremony at the research facility. Humans had prepared a small dinner in her honor. While she did not require food, she accepted small tokens to show respect. She sat among them, listening to stories, laughing softly at their jokes and asking questions about daily life. Every story revealed more about the humans' resilience, adaptability, and creativity. When the ceremony concluded, Arlena returned to the starship. She floated in the observation chamber, looking out at the blue planet below. Her mind was alive with questions and possibilities. Humans were nothing like Zorathians, yet they were extraordinary in their own way. For the first time, she felt that her visit was not merely diplomatic. It was personal. She wanted to understand humans not just through reports or observation, but by witnessing and perhaps participating in their world. As the starship's lights dimmed for the night, Arlena's eyes remained fixed on the planet. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I must learn more. I must see everything humans can teach me." And so, the journey of discovery began. An alien princess eager to understand life in its most human form, not knowing that her fascination would grow deeper than she could imagine. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the Earth's horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and gold. Princess Arlena awoke in her quarters aboard the starship, her mind still buzzing with thoughts from the previous day. She had watched humans interact with their young, and every detail lingered in her memory. The laughter of children, the gentle guidance of parents, and the way humans learned from small mistakes. Everything fascinated her. Today, her advisors had arranged something unusual. Instead of observing from afar, she would visit a human family directly. The idea excited and unsettled her at the same time. She had never been so close to humans, and she was unsure how to behave among them. Yet her curiosity outweighed her caution. "Princess," Advisor Vera said as she entered the room, her translucent form glowing faintly in the morning light. "The humans have prepared for your visit. They understand your need for observation. This will be..." Enlightening, Arlena nodded. I am ready. I wish to see how they live their daily lives, how they nurture their young, and how they teach them. Soon a human transport vehicle arrived to take her to a nearby town. The streets were alive with activity. Children played on sidewalks, some chasing balls while others rode small bicycles. Parents watched carefully, their expressions a mix of amusement and concern. Arlena noticed small details she had never read about. The way humans comforted one another. The way laughter and attention seemed to feed a child's confidence. The vehicle stopped in front of a modest 2-story house. Flowers bloomed in the garden, and a small tree shaded the front porch. A human woman smiling warmly stepped forward to greet Arlena. Welcome, Princess, she said gently. I am Sarah Lane, and this is my family. We are honored to host you today. Arlena inclined her head politely. It is an honor to meet you, Mrs. Lane, your home. It is very different from Zorath, yet comforting. Sarah laughed softly. Thank you. Please come in. The children are excited to meet you. Inside, the house smelled of warmth and cooking. A small child ran toward Arlena, wide-eyed and giggling. His hair was tousled, and he carried a small toy spaceship. Arlena's heart, or the Zorathian equivalent, fluttered. There was an energy in human children that could not be simulated. They were curious, fearless in their own small ways, and eager to learn. Hello, Arlena said softly, extending a hand in greeting. The child hesitated, then smiled and shook it, his laughter brightening the room. Over the next hour, Arlena observed the family closely. Sarah showed her how they guided their children in small daily tasks. She watched a toddler learn to pour juice without spilling. A slightly older child practiced tying shoelaces, and another child carefully stacking blocks to build towers. Each small task required patience, teaching, and gentle correction. What fascinates me, Arlena said quietly to Sarah, is how humans learn through trial and error. On Zorath, young are programmed with knowledge. They do not stumble or fail. Not in this way, Sarah nodded. Yes, it can be messy, but it helps them grow. They learn to be independent, to solve problems, and to trust themselves. Mistakes are part of learning. Arlena moved closer, observing a young girl coloring a picture with crayons. The colors overlapped. Some lines went outside the shapes, yet the child smiled proudly at her work. Arlena felt something new, an admiration not for perfection but for the joy of trying. As the day went on, the family invited her into more aspects of their life. She watched as parents prepared meals with the children's help, teaching them to follow instructions, measure ingredients, and clean up afterward. Each moment revealed the human's patience, creativity, and dedication. At one point, Arlena was invited to join the children in play. A game of building a simple tower with blocks was proposed. She hesitated, unsure how to participate, but the children's laughter and excitement encouraged her. Using her long, delicate fingers, she carefully stacked the blocks, balancing them with precision. When the tower wobbled and fell, the children giggled and she laughed along, a sound that was new for her, more spontaneous than her usual melodic voice. See? Sarah said, smiling. It's okay to fail. The fun is in trying and learning, Arlena nodded. She realized this was something humans mastered naturally, the joy of effort rather than perfection. It was different from Zorath, where failure was rare and often avoided. Humans seemed to thrive on their imperfections, shaping them into strength. After playtime, the family gathered for a quiet moment. They sat together on the floor reading a story. Arlena watched the children listen intently, their eyes wide as Sarah's voice animated each character. The way humans shared knowledge, feelings, and imagination impressed her. Words carried emotion, guidance, and inspiration. Even simple sentences had a depth she had not expected. This is remarkable, Arlena whispered to herself. Humans teach through interaction, through presence, through emotion, not only through data or direct instruction. Later, Sarah took her to the garden. The children were planting small flowers, learning how to handle soil and water carefully. Arlena knelt beside them, observing the process. The children's hands were small and awkward, yet they showed patience. She noted how even mistakes, dropping soil or breaking a small stem, were met with guidance, not punishment. On Zorath, new life grows automatically, Arlena said softly. We do not teach them in this manner. Everything is programmed precise, yet, watching this, I understand the value of experience, of learning through care. Sarah smiled kindly. That is what humans do. We guide, we nurture, and we love. Our young grow slowly, but they learn resilience, empathy, and creativity along the way. The day drew to a close with a small meal prepared by the family. Though Arlena did not require food, she accepted a small portion to show respect and appreciation. She observed how humans interacted while eating, sharing stories, laughing at small mistakes, and paying attention to each other's needs. Every detail seemed connected to their development and emotional growth. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the garden, Arlena reflected on what she had witnessed. Humans were small, fragile, and imperfect in many ways, yet they possessed a resilience and creativity that Zorathians lacked. They learned from every experience, shaped by care, effort, and connection. Her mind buzzed with new questions. How could she understand humans better? Could Zorathians learn from this process of slow, patient growth? Could humans teach her more about emotion, experience, and the art of learning? That night aboard the starship, she recorded her observations in a holographic journal. She detailed everything she had seen, the small mistakes and successes of the children, the patience of the parents, the energy and curiosity of human life. Each note deepened her understanding, and her admiration for humans grew. "This is extraordinary," she whispered, her eyes fixed on Earth below. "I thought I knew about life, about growth. But humans, they are something else entirely. I must learn more. I must see everything." As the starship lights dimmed for rest, Arlena's thoughts were filled with anticipation. Tomorrow would bring new observations, perhaps even more personal experiences. Humans had shown her the beauty of growth, the joy in learning, and the strength in imperfection. She was determined to continue her journey of discovery, to understand humans in ways no Zorathian had ever done before. And so, the Princess of Zorath fell asleep, dreaming not of distant stars or flawless calculations, but of human laughter, curiosity, and the simple yet profound act of learning. The morning sun shone brightly over the small town where Princess Arlena was staying. The starship had remained in orbit, but Arlena had chosen to spend her days on Earth, eager to experience life firsthand. Today she would visit a local school, a place where humans nurtured their young not only through family care, but through structured learning and creativity. Her arrival caused a stir among the students. Children had never seen a Zorathian before, and the sight of her shimmering, translucent skin and multifaceted eyes made them gasp in wonder. Arlena smiled softly, bending slightly to appear less intimidating. She had learned quickly that humans responded best to warmth and gentle expressions. "Good morning, Princess Arlena," said the school principal, a kind woman named Mrs. Patel. "We are honored to have you here. The children are very excited to meet you and to show you how we learn." Arlena inclined her head politely. "I'm honored as well. I wish to understand how humans educate their young and how they guide them in learning about the world." The first classroom was filled with children seated on colorful mats. On the walls were drawings, charts, and posters illustrating everything from planets to animals to famous human inventions. A teacher, Mr. Lopez, welcomed Arlena and explained their first activity, storytelling and imagination. "Children," he said, "we have a very special guest today. Princess Arlena will join us as we explore stories and creativity." The children's eyes widened in excitement. Arlena observed silently as the students began telling short stories, using drawings and props to illustrate their ideas. Some stories were about adventures in faraway lands, others about everyday experiences at home. Each child expressed imagination differently, yet every story carried lessons about cooperation, empathy, and problem-solving. Arlena was fascinated. On Zorath, young were given information directly through energy matrices. They learned facts and skills and histories instantly, but imagination and creativity were rare. Here, humans built knowledge not only through instruction but through exploration, trial, and storytelling. "Princess Arlena," Mr. Lopez said gently, "would you like to participate?" Arlena hesitated. She was accustomed to precision, not imagination, but the children's excitement encouraged her to try. She took a deep breath and began a story of her own. Her voice was melodic, and she described a journey across the stars, where young Zorathians discovered new worlds and learned lessons through experience. The children listened with rapt attention, asking questions and offering suggestions. Arlena found herself adapting her story as she went, responding to their curiosity and ideas. It was unlike anything she had done on Zorath, where stories were fixed, predetermined, and flawless. Here she was learning in real time, shaping knowledge and imagination with others. After storytelling, the class moved to a hands-on activity, building simple machines using blocks, levers, and small pulleys. Arlena observed closely as the children experimented, testing designs and learning from mistakes. A small boy built a lever that failed repeatedly, but he tried again, adjusting angles and weights until it worked. The joy on his face when the lever lifted a small block was infectious. "This is remarkable," Arlena whispered to Mr. Lopez. "Humans do not simply learn from observation. They experiment, fail, and succeed. Their growth is dynamic, shaped by action as much as instruction." Mr. Lopez nodded. "Yes, learning here is interactive. Children develop problem-solving skills and creativity alongside knowledge. We believe mistakes are essential. They teach resilience and thinking." The day continued with lessons in art and music. Arlena watched children paint with bright colors, creating images inspired by nature and imagination. She noticed how each child's personality reflected in their work, some precise and careful, others bold and expressive. In music class, they sang and played simple instruments, learning rhythm, coordination, and harmony. Arlena found herself deeply moved. Humans did not rely solely on intellect, they valued emotion, expression, and connection. Through art, music, and play, children developed not just skills but a sense of identity and confidence. On Zorath, knowledge alone shaped a young Zorathian, but humans shaped themselves through experience. During lunch, Arlena joined the children at long tables, sharing a meal and conversation. Though she did not require food, she accepted small bites to show respect. Children asked questions about her planet, her life, and the stars she had seen. Arlena answered carefully using simple explanations. The children listened eagerly, their eyes shining with wonder. After lunch, she was taken to the playground. Children ran, jumped, and climbed, testing their strength and coordination. Arlena watched, intrigued by their determination. Even when they fell, they quickly rose again, encouraged by friends or teachers. Humans seemed to thrive on challenges and learning through experience. One boy approached her shyly, holding a small ball. "Princess Arlena, will you play with us?" Arlena hesitated. Her species was not built for running or catching, but she nodded. Carefully, she joined the game, her long limbs moving in unusual but careful ways. The children laughed and adapted, enjoying the novelty of playing with someone so different. Even small victories like catching the ball or making a pass brought smiles and laughter. "Your children are resilient," Arlena remarked to Mr. Lopez. "They fall, they try again, and each attempt strengthens them. On Zorath, we do not experience growth in this way. Success is immediate, failure minimal." "That's true," Mr. Lopez said. "But humans grow stronger by trying, failing, and learning. Every experience matters, and every challenge shapes them." Later, the students gathered in a circle for reflection. They shared what they had learned that day, how they helped each other, and how they overcame small difficulties. Arlena listened quietly, amazed at the depth of understanding even young children could achieve through discussion and experience. "You see, Princess Arlena," Mr. Lopez said gently, "humans do not just gain knowledge. They gain understanding, empathy, and resilience. Learning is not only about the mind, it is about the heart as well." Arlena nodded, her thoughts swirling. She had come to observe humans, to understand their ways, but she realized she was learning herself. Their methods, their patience, and their emphasis on experience were enlightening. Humans were fragile yet strong, limited in technology compared to Zorath, yet capable of extraordinary growth through connection and perseverance. As the school day ended, the children waved goodbye, calling out friendly farewells. Arlena smiled, feeling a warmth she had not anticipated. Humans taught her not just facts or processes, but the value of interaction, patience, and joy. She was beginning to understand that life's richness came from more than efficiency or knowledge. It came from engagement, care, and shared experiences. Returning to the starship, Arlena reflected on the day. Her journal filled with observations, stories, games, experiments, and reflections. Each note deepened her appreciation for humans, revealing complexities that data alone could never convey. "This world is alive in ways I could not have imagined," she whispered. "The human strength lies not in perfection but in effort, connection, and learning. I must continue to witness and understand everything they can teach me." As night fell, she looked out at the sparkling cities below. Lights twinkled like stars fallen to the ground, each home a place of learning, care, and growth. Arlena's admiration for humans had grown stronger. She realized that observing them was only the beginning. She wanted to participate, to experience more directly how they lived, learned, and connected. The Princess of Zorath lay in her quarters, her thoughts buzzing with possibilities. Humans had shown her that life was more than survival. It was about curiosity, creativity, and resilience. She had witnessed their traditions, their learning, and their joy. Tomorrow promised new experiences, perhaps deeper immersion into human culture and more lessons in growth and understanding. With a sense of anticipation, she drifted into rest. For the first time in her life, Princess Arlena felt that growth was not only about acquiring know. The next day, Princess Arlena awoke early, feeling a thrill of anticipation. Today, she would experience something entirely new, a human celebration. The Lane family had invited her to join their town's annual festival, a day filled with music, games, food, and community. For Arlena, it would be an opportunity to observe human interaction, cooperation, and joy in a communal setting. As she stepped outside, the town square was alive with activity. Stalls lined the streets, decorated with bright banners and flowers. Humans of all ages bustled about, some selling food, others crafts, while children ran excitedly, holding balloons or handmade toys. The air was filled with music, laughter, and the scent of freshly baked bread and sweets. Arlena's presence drew attention immediately. Many humans paused to look at her, whispering in amazement. She had grown accustomed to curiosity, but she also noticed something remarkable. Humans, while initially startled, quickly approached with friendliness rather than fear. Their curiosity was tempered by openness and warmth. "Princess Arlena," Mrs. Lane said warmly, "this is one of our most important events of the year. It is a celebration of community, creativity, and cooperation. You will see how humans come together, support each other, and share joy." Arlena nodded, her large, multifaceted eyes scanning the square. "It is magnificent. The energy of this gathering is unlike anything I have observed. On Zorath, we value efficiency and structure, but here, there is life, spontaneity, and shared purpose." The first activity she observed was a cooperative game. Children and adults teamed up to complete a large puzzle that depicted the town's history. Arlena watched as families worked together, guiding younger members, offering encouragement, and celebrating small victories. The joy was infectious, and she found herself smiling, captivated by the sense of unity. "What impresses me most," Arlena said quietly to Mrs. Lane, "is how humans connect. They share goals, support one another, and derive strength from cooperation. Even small children contribute meaningfully." "Yes," Mrs. Lane replied. "We believe that by working together, humans learn empathy, patience, and responsibility. Community is more than individuals. It is the sum of care and effort each person contributes." Next, Arlena joined a dance activity. Humans formed large circles, holding hands and moving rhythmically to music. The steps were simple, but the energy and enthusiasm were immense. Hesitant at first, Arlena allowed herself to join, mimicking the movements. The children giggled at her unusual posture, and she laughed softly, enjoying the interaction. Through the dance, she noticed a deeper lesson. Humans did not require perfection to participate or enjoy themselves. The act of joining, of contributing, of sharing in the moment was more important than flawless execution. Arlena reflected on this as she moved with the circle, feeling a sense of connection she had never experienced on Zorath. Later, she observed a storytelling corner where elders shared tales from the town's history. Children gathered around, listening intently, occasionally asking questions. Arlena realized that knowledge was passed not only through structured teaching, but through stories, memory, and shared experience. These tales preserved history, values, and lessons for future generations. "This is remarkable," Arlena whispered to herself. "Humans pass knowledge not only through instruction but through shared experience. Their culture is alive, shaped by memory, emotion, and participation." As the day progressed, Arlena joined the festival's food preparation. Families worked together to prepare simple meals and treats, sharing tasks and teaching younger members. She observed how humans taught through demonstration, guiding children's hands as they kneaded dough or arranged vegetables. Every action carried a lesson in patience, cooperation, and care. At one point, a small boy offered Arlena a handmade pastry. She accepted it graciously, marveling at the pride in the child's eyes. It was a small gesture, yet it represented the values humans cherished: sharing, effort, and recognition of others' contributions. Arlena's attention shifted to a craft activity. Children and adults created decorations for the festival, using simple materials like paper, fabric, and paint. She observed a young girl struggling to fold a paper flower. Instead of stepping in immediately, her older brother offered gentle suggestions, encouraging her to try again. After several attempts, the girl succeeded, her face lighting up with pride. Arlena realized that humans valued the process of learning and achievement as much as the result. "What fascinates me," Arlena said to Mrs. Lane, "is how humans combine effort, creativity, and emotion in even the simplest activities. Every interaction teaches, every experience strengthens bonds." "Yes," Mrs. Lane replied. "Humans grow not only through instruction, but through participation, trial, and shared experiences. We learn to empathize, to cooperate, and to celebrate together." As the sun began to set, the festival culminated in a small ceremony. Children and adults formed a circle around a central bonfire. They sang songs, recited poems, and shared reflections on the day. Arlena watched in awe as the community expressed gratitude, joy, and unity. Even the youngest children participated, their voices joining those of older members in harmony. Arlena felt a profound sense of admiration. Humans were fragile in many ways, yet their strength came from connection, care, and shared purpose. They celebrated not just achievements but effort, not just knowledge but emotion, not just individuality but community. At one point, a small girl approached Arlena, holding a simple flower crown. "Princess Arlena," she said shyly, "will you wear this?" Arlena accepted the crown, placing it gently on her head. The child smiled brightly, and Arlena felt a warmth that she could not describe. It was more than appreciation, it was a connection, a shared moment of joy between species. As night fell, lanterns illuminated the town square, casting a warm glow on smiling faces. Arlena stood quietly observing the humans around her. Their laughter, their cooperation, their care for one another, all of it created a richness of life she had never known. Returning to the starship, Arlena reflected on the day, her journal filled with observations about human celebrations, cooperation, and tradition. She noted the importance of participation, effort, and connection in every activity. Humans did not rely solely on intelligence or technology. They relied on one another, on shared purpose, and on the joy of experience. "This world is extraordinary," she whispered. "Humans teach through action, emotion, and presence. Their growth, their strength, and their culture are intertwined. I must continue to learn. I must experience everything they can teach me." That night, Princess Arlena lay in her quarters, her thoughts alive with reflection. Humans had shown her a side of life that was unpredictable, vibrant, and deeply meaningful. She realized that growth was not only about knowledge or perfection, it was about connection, care, and shared effort. For the first time, she felt a deep admiration not only for human intelligence but for human spirit. Their resilience, creativity, and joy were lessons in themselves, lessons no archive, simulation, or report could ever fully convey. And so, as stars twinkled above and the lights of Earth sparkled below, Arlena dreamed not of distant worlds or flawless calculations, but of laughter, cooperation, and the beauty of shared human experience. She was eager for tomorrow, when new adventures and discoveries awaited, each one a chance to understand humans more fully, to witness their lives, and to celebrate their remarkable strength and spirit.